What's up, fam? I'm up early looking at it, man. Walking around looking at the camp, looking at the dogs. Think about how far we came. But something's heavy on my mind today, man. And I know you've seen the title. And if you haven't listened to any of my videos before, listen to this one. If you follow the channel, follow it today. Listen to the whole video, man. This is important. Because I think I can explain a lot that'll help a lot, man, with the community. And I'm going to try not to do a whole lot of editing. We're just going to go through it. They're calling you a backyard breeder. And there's a reason that they're calling you a backyard breeder. And there's a reason that they have hatred for you. That's a reason they don't want to let you do a live. They don't want to let you do anything without some hateful comment. There's a reason, and it's because you're a backyard breeder. And not knowing what it means, you look at it and you say, well, we all be backyard breeders. All our dogs in the backyard. But that's not what they're referring to. Backyard breeding is a term that designates that you use sketchy breeding practices to complete the breeding. That you don't do, you're not breeding for any specific genes or structure. You're not socializing your pups before you sell them. You're selling online. You're raising them in tight, confined places. It's just all around a bunch of bad stuff that you're not even aware of that you're doing. A real breeder has a waiting list. You know, you're not supposed to just be breeding just because it's time and they in heat and you just start breeding. That's not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to have a wait. Let's start there. Let's be responsible. No, let's start with the waiting list. If you don't have 6 people waiting on puppies, don't breed. It is not the time to go and try to get customers after you've already bred. Well, I don't know what they're going to look like. Well, get to paying more attention to breeding and you will know what they're going to look like. That's why the people came to you, because they think you know what they're going to look like. So start out with to be a responsible breeder instead of a backyard breeder. Breed for good genes. Have all of that situated. Have that structure is what you're breeding for. Structure and genes and trying to better the breed. Do that first. Do that not first. Do that after you have a waiting list for 6 puppies. So that you just don't have puppies out here. And then now you're desperate. Now you're doing it, have a waiting list. That's a real breeder. Everybody else is just producing puppies and having them sitting around, man. Another thing is if you pet home a pup, which is what you're supposed to be doing, is pet homing something that's not breed stock quality. If you pet home a puppy, get a spayed and neutered contract. Make them agree that they're not going to go and breed this female anyway. Make them agree that they're going to not pollute the population of the American bully with this dog that you as the breeder designated as a pet. Because you're not getting that spayed and neuter contract, they're calling you a backyard breeder. Why? Because if everybody does this, it's going to destroy the whole industry. All of these things are going to destroy the whole industry. If you're not responsible with selective gene breeding, if you're not responsible for the two dogs that you're putting together, then you're a backyard breeder, and they should be on your head because you're not thinking about what you're producing. But that's why they're upset at you. You're supposed to be breeding with a purpose, several purposes, not just because you came across two dogs. Now, what happens when you get these 10 puppies that you wasn't expecting? You get these 10 puppies and you don't have no area, no whelping room, you don't have no kennels to set up, you don't have any place for them to really be. Now you got 10 puppies. And each day they get more and more competition for food. They're getting more and more aggressive towards each other, which is what we're breeding away from. So when you just have the puppies and let them sit there competing, instead of socializing, instead of pulling them out of there, working with them, teaching them how to sit, teaching them basic commands, just teaching them. My puppies just know that we are in a training mode, and they're ready to train every time I see them now. They're ready to get their treats. They are paying attention. If you're not doing that with your puppies, then you're an irresponsible backyard breeder. Because this dog that you finna get, this person is gonna be hyper active and full of energy because you ain't ever let it out. Don't know how to greet a person because you ain't never greeted. It's just you've been greeting the group. So that's why they call you a backyard breeder, because you just housing puppies until they sell. And you don't know when they sell because you don't have a waiting list. And you don't have a waiting list because nobody knows what you're making, because you don't know what you're making because you're not selectively breeding. And all that leads up to big problems, especially for the breed. But the families that you're giving these dogs to are not going to be happy. You got pets out here breeding. That didn't help the breed. Like if you made perfect bullies and you put breed stock on the right ones, pet quality on the right ones, and you bettered the breed with the bullies that you made perfect, and then you let the pet qualities go out there and don't get a spay and neuter contract, and they start breeding, you just hurt the breed. You just took it right back. The steps that you brought it up, you just took them right back away. That's why they're calling you a backyard breeder. Gotta be responsible. I've been saying this in a roundabout way, but today it was on my mind. Just tell it to them, man. Just let them know the consequences. Maybe they'll see what you're saying. I got plenty of dogs to show you today. I can show you a bunch of impressive dogs, a bunch of impressive bullies to keep you interested while I'm talking. I don't have time for that today. If you're not listening to me today, you are a backyard breeder, and that's what's wrong with this situation. It's people like you. So, breaking news, an update on breeding in hard-cut bully kennels. When I got 6 people waiting, I've got about half. When I get about 6 people waiting, we'll start the breeding. Other than that, we're not going to breed. If you're not on my waiting list, that's why you don't have a puppy. There ain't no need of calling me once the puppies come, because you wasn't on the waiting list. They're already designated. Some's going to go to me, to my breeding purposes, and some's going to go to the people that asked to be on the waiting list. There will be a price on the waiting list. It won't be a much of a price, but you're going to have to make an investment. That's responsible. I can't just go off of your word of how you was feeling today because you seen a pretty puppy that I'm going to go and create a litter. So you gotta put a deposit down. If it's pet quality, I'm gonna mark the papers, pet quality, no breed stock. There's 2 checks on the papers when you get them. You can say breed stock or pet only. I'm marking pet only on your papers, and I'm gonna have you sign a spay and do the contract. It will be a cheaper puppy than if it was a show quality puppy or a breed stock quality puppy with full breeding rights. It'll be cheaper than that. But you will have the responsibility of not polluting my gene pool with it. Just because you got a Merle bully, man, you can't just put it out there. You already messing up the gene pool with the Merle. You don't even know it because you didn't do no gene testing or none of that stuff. You just went by colors. You can't do that. That's backyard breeding. That's why they're calling you a backyard breeder, man. I mean, I can go on and on. I hope I hit a few points that make some sense, man. Especially socialize. I mean, I can't say none of them you should overlook, but especially socialize your pups at least, man. Be responsible for that. If you go through a couple litters and you realize that you can't socialize a whole litter, get out the game. If you don't want to selectively breed, if you can't take a chance, if you go and spend $5,000 on a dog, and a year later, it turns out that dog is not breed stock. A year later, the dog got high rear, and you didn't even see it until then. You got to be responsible and don't breed that dog. If you know that dog got a terrible temperament after a year, you got to be responsible. Don't breed that dog. But anyway, let me quit talking to you, man. Y'all get the point. Come on off the bench for the big win, man, and get you something hard cut. That's all.